Life card, Mind Gem, Sword of Vowed Victory. Multiple projects, synchronous analysis and research of the heavens system, the speed has been reduced a lot. Luo Teng was not in a hurry, he finally relaxed, and looked at the system interface of Wanji Travel Agency. On the street of the system, the level of the travel agency is already LV3. And the upgrade experience also came to 42.5%. A B-level visitor gets 10% of the experience, a level 5%. If Albedo and young Master Void return to the original world, the experience will be reduced to 62.5%. Doing the math, in fact, as long as he receives 4 more B-levels, he will be able to upgrade. Luo Teng slammed his mouth, and glanced at Albedo who was flirting with something. It has been 4 or 5 days since the other party came to the Marvel world. If the travel purpose cannot be fulfilled, you can only return after the expiration of 1 month. Master Kong Kong is still receiving treatment. According to Wakanda's little black girl Suri, that guy not only has a broken kidney, but also has some problems with his lungs. The exercises practiced by the other party have been continuously absorbing the energy produced by the 2 organs. If you want to get rid of the root of the disease, you have to change your practice method. Or, you can only exchange 2 King Kong Indestructible and lungs. If it is estimated, it will take 8 or 9 days for the other party to recover. Glancing at the waiting list of received tourists, Luo Teng smiled when he saw Artoria's favorability. Artoria Pendragon, favorability degree 95. Maybe it's because the knot in my heart has been untied, or maybe it's because the purpose of the trip has been fulfilled. Although Luo Teng and Artoria spent a short time together, their affection was not low. But he is very clear. Most of Artoria's affection for him has nothing to do with love. The feeling of wanting to fall in love may be a bit lost, but it is only in the budding state. More are friendship, gratitude, sense of recognition. It shouldn't be easy for the coyote to attack. But what the hell, it's still very worrying. Luo Teng sat on the sofa, raised his neck and sighed. I prayed in my heart, hoping that Tasaka Rin's speed could be a little faster. Otherwise, if something happens that makes him regret it, he is afraid that he will not be able to bear it. He casually sent an employee invitation letter to Artoria. In a few seconds, Xiangyi responded to the invitation and became an employee of the travel agency. It's just because Tasaka Rin has already applied for the establishment of a ground pickup station, but she can no longer apply. Another visitor. Luo Teng smacked his lips, let go of his worries for a while, and looked at the list of tourists. Tourist list Bumblebee from the world of shapeshifting King Kong, the high-level silicon-based life of Cybertron civilization. Purpose of travel, escape from the Cybertron Civil War, B-level tourists. Albus Dumbledore from the world of Harry Potter, headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Purpose of travel, completely wipe out Voldemort, C-level tourists. Master Puji from the world of Zushin, the 4 great monks of Tiantian Temple ranked 3rd. Purpose of travel, Class C tourists who understand the secrets of Buddhist and Taoist practitioners. Bai Xiaofei from the world of Corpse Brothers, a brave young man emerged after the outbreak of the plague. Purpose of travel, to find Xiaowei, a D-level tourist. Well, Bumblebee should be the bottom of the B-level existence. Luo Teng muttered in his mouth, I have accepted Bumblebee's travel order. In the world of shapeshifting King Kong, Bumblebee is his favorite character. Although it may seem silly sometimes, it is undeniable that Bumblebee has a very likable character. Moreover, compared to other or rigid, or serious Cybertron life, Bumblebee is very easy to communicate. It should be the easiest way to increase the favorability. There was a layer of waves on the gate of the travel agency. Bumblebee's mechanical head poked out of the gate first. After looking at the environment of the travel agency, he bowed and walked into the travel agency under the sound of precision gears turning. With a figure of nearly 6 meters, it creaked against the walls of the travel agency. If it weren't for the travel agency being indestructible under the system rules, I'm afraid that this house would be ruined just by appearing here. With a thought, Luo Teng used the space folding technology attached to the travel agency to directly double the height of the roof. Bumblebee looked up at the suddenly higher roof in a daze, his eyes full of puzzlement. Bumblebee, you are welcome. Luo Teng spoke to Bumblebee. Cheep, cheep, cheep. The mechanical gear in the Bumblebee's mouth rotated for a while, but it could only emit a burst of electromagnetic sound. Dot can understand what I'm saying. Squeak, Bumblebee nodded. Your sounder is broken? Squeak, Bumblebee nodded again. Is there such a thing as data communication? Squeak. Stop yelling. I can't understand you even if you yell, just turn on the data communication. Luo Teng held his forehead with one hand. Thankfully, he also has the means of data communication. Otherwise, he really doesn't know how to communicate with a silicon-based life that can only squeak. Groot somehow changed his tone of voice. The bumblebee is fine, it's completely disorderly electromagnetic interference. Hey, friend, are you the owner here? Dark energy data connects to Bumblebee's communication channel. The data from the bumblebee was transformed by the heavens system, and Luo Teng finally heard the familiar language. Definitely, these should already be in your head. Luo Teng shrugged, with a feeling of relief. The ghost knows what he went through just now. The squeak sound in his head was simply a kind of torture. Squeak. Oh, sorry, forgot to turn on the data connection. Bumblebee spread out her hands with an innocent expression on her face. After pausing for a moment, he continued, "You can help me, can't you, friend? You want to escape the civil war on Cybertron? It's not just evasion. I'm the intelligence officer of the Autobots. The civil war on Cybertron has been going on for a long time. The Autobots don't seem to be going on. We may need a new place where we can survive." Bumblebee revealed his true purpose on the communication platform. Although it was also to avoid the civil war, this guy didn't want to escape alone. But the entire Autobots don't want to have a fierce battle with the Decepticons. Luo Teng scratched his chin, with a thoughtful expression on his face. The Cybertron civilization is a civilization built by silicon-based life, and its technology is quite advanced. The present time, according to what Bumblebee said, should be the eve before they leave Cybertron and prepare to go to Earth. The other party's travel purpose is not difficult to achieve, and it can even be said to be quite simple. As long as Luo Teng provides the position of the Earth in the world of shapeshifting King Kong, he can directly complete the task. But silicon-based life. Heaven, scan the life structure of the bumblebee, and try to analyze silicon-based life. Began to analyze silicon-based life. The analysis progress is 1%, 0.2%. The heavens started to work, and within 10 seconds, 90% of the analysis of the body parts was completed. It's just that the progress of the last 10%, which is the core of life, is extremely slow. For the technology on the opponent's body, the heavens database can completely find matching or similar knowledge. But the life core of silicon-based life is different from most of the creatures known to Marvel. Even Chitauri's cyborgs and leviathans. In essence, they all belong to carbon-based life. Hey buddy, I know my purpose may be a bit difficult, but I haven't talked for a long time, can you talk to me? Bumblebee crouched in the hall, seeing that Luo Teng hadn't spoken for a long time. In the eyes that shone with mechanical luster, there was a bit of longing involuntarily. Long? Your civil war has hit you so much that you don't even have time to repair your squeaker? The situation may be more tragic than you imagined, we Autobots. Need me to fix the squeaker for you? Wonderful if you can. Bumblebee suddenly stood up from the hall, with joy in his eyes. You squat down and don't move. Luo Teng hastily stopped the excited waving hornet. What the hell? Although the things in the travel agency will not be damaged, but after such a toss, who will clean up the mess in the lobby? No problem, no problem. I'm just a little too happy, you should be able to understand. Okay, I understand, you squat down first. Luo Teng held his forehead with one hand, thinking about whether to directly complete the bumblebee's travel purpose, and then kick it back. The bumblebee that looks so cute in this movie is actually poisonous in reality. How long will it take you to fix it? Oh, when you fix it, I'll sing you a song. If you keep talking nonsense, I won't practice anymore. This is the etiquette of friends. No, I won't say any more. Bumblebee saw that Luo Teng turned his head and decided not to send any more messages. Heaven. Lock the bumblebee's sounder, open the high-level substance definition, re-edit the logic sequence, and repair the damaged parts. The target sounder is locked, the high-level material definition is turned on, the logic sequence has been successfully reorganized, and the damage has been repaired. A faint red light locked on the hornet's chin. In just a few seconds, redefines the opponent's sounder. Have you started? Bumblebee sent a message stupidly. It's over. Bumblebee blinked with humanized bewilderment in his eyes, and tried to speak. My friend, you should take it seriously. Oh, this is amazing. My friend, your technology is too powerful. Even the best technicians on Cybertron can't compare with you. Luo Teng looked at Bumblebee, who was halfway through speaking, and suddenly changed the subject, and rolled his eyes speechlessly. After thinking about it, he said straight to the point. Bumblebee, Send me a copy of your star map. He has already decided that this kind of funny comparison should be kicked back sooner. Never mind shapeshifting Donkey Kong world. King Yan of Wakanda requests communication, whether to connect. While receiving the star map transmission, a notification came from the heavens system. Luo Tang raised his eyebrows slightly. The old king of Wakanda, when he has nothing to do, he will not take the initiative to contact him. What happened again? Mr. Luo, are you watching TV now? In the words of the old king of Wakanda, there was a bit of resentment, a bit of gloom, and there seemed to be a bit of lingering anger. Television? Luo Tang pressed his right ear with one hand, and swiped his left hand in the air. The heavens system driven by dark energy quickly played the content on the TV. On today's TV, major media platforms are competing to report a big battle in space. Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye Barton, Green Titan Banner and others appeared frequently. They enjoy the crowds and cheers of the people. There is clearly a lot of enthusiasm for the hero who defeated the alien invasion. However, some politicians and experts from all walks of life frequently began to make some extraterrestrial threat remarks at this time. Even the people who protected them, including Luo Tang and Angel, raised a lot of doubts. Nick Fury also keeps appearing in various media. Although he tried his best to mediate with some politicians, it was obvious that he was unable to do what he could. The top leaders of the United States are trying to dominate the people's thinking and put pressure on everyone, so as to grasp the power they cannot control. Avengers, technology mastered by Wakanda, Kamar Taj. Even plotting Luo Tang's technology, Asgard's technology and Angel. Luo Tang laughed angrily when he saw this news report. What the hell? Even bigger than Nick Fury's ambitions back then. Why don't these people go directly to heaven? In the face of civilizations and forces that are far more advanced than yourself, if you are not humble in order to live in peace, you still try to use this method to force the other party to compromise or even surrender power. Old King, is Wakanda ready to disclose the corresponding technology? Luo Tang leaned on the sofa, kneading the space between his eyebrows with one hand. Early when you came here before, we prepared well, but the other party's persecution made Wakanda look weak and deceitful. I understand what you mean, I will deal with this matter. Luo Tang opened his mouth and said something. In fact, it is the same whether it is Wakanda or him. They don't mind, and are even more than happy to take Earth's progress to a whole new level. But like the one with the lines from the movie, what I give you is yours. If I don't give it to you, you can't grab it. Nick Fury requesting communication, is it connected? Just after hanging up the old king of Wakanda, Nick Fury called Luo Tang. Mr. Luo, I have tried my best. People's ambitions are unlimited, and they can always find various reasons for themselves. Nick Fury's voice was full of exhaustion. After you release the news, half an hour later, at the Stark building, I will make some statements to them on behalf of the Angel civilization and the Asgard civilization. Mr. Luo, are you going to? I'm ready to start a whole new era, the Age of Heroes. A smile appeared on Luo Tang's face. The Marvel world has always been a troubled world. But in the original book, Iron Man and Thor possess technologies far higher than the average level of the Earth. Have you shared it with the whole planet? Though things like the Sokovia Accords prove to those aspirants who never gave up trying to master the Avengers. But what about the end result? Civil war and internal strife have made the world more dangerous than ever. Until half of the people on Earth died directly, some people repented. Hey buddy, it sounds like you guys are suffering some injustice, do you want me to help? Bumblebee crouched beside Luo Tang. That pair of pitiful eyes clearly said, what's the matter, please take me with you. Come together. Luo Tang shrugged his shoulders. Although this guy was a bit annoying, he had no evil intentions. And, maybe for today, it doesn't hurt to bring a little extra. This is great, I'll drive you there. Bumblebee said a word, and the equipment parts on his body quickly completed the reorganization during the rapid change of body shape. A standard old car, leaving Luo Tang speechless. After all, he is also a boss. The kind of boss who can fight Star Wars. What an embarrassment for an old car. Your aesthetic should improve, because of the wasp. Luo Tang sighed. Why? Lie down and don't move. Luo Tang's eyes were covered with white lights, and the heavens system began to define the metal shell of the bumblebee again. Although the core part of Cybertron's silicon-based life has not been researched yet. But the shell part and mechanical components, the technology he possesses is more advanced than Kiln Botan. A Lambo concept supercar that appeared 19 years later slowly appeared in the hall. The streamlined body is full of power and technology. The bright yellow color brings a rush of domineering and noble. The interior is full of sci-fi. The main console, projection navigation, and holographic mirror glass are nothing like the products that can appear in this era. Albedo. A smile appeared on Luo Teng's face. He raised his hand to invite, and opened the copilot for Albedo. My Lord Supreme. Albedo looked flattered, with an intoxicating blush on her face. Just a small move gave her the urge to throw herself into Luo Teng's arms. This kind of treatment. She is really favored by His Holiness. R.O. This is powerful. I love the look. Bumblebee spoke with a little excitement in his words. The 4 hubs are constantly raised, looking like they may change at any time. You'd better calm down. You have made me very inexperienced in driving, and even want to change you back. Luo Teng, who had just sat in the driver's seat, patted the steering wheel speechlessly. What the hell? He just wanted to pretend to be tough. How could he pretend like Bumblebee? It feels like I brought a joke to the stage, Luo exploded. Okay. I will try my best. Luo, I downloaded the music library of your planet. Want to listen? You and this female will have a beautiful encounter. Bumblebee paused for less than 2 seconds before continuing to talk about another topic. Albedo's cheeks were slightly red, and there was nothing wrong with being called a female for a demon. What makes her shy is that there seems to be some better atmosphere brewing between her and the Supreme Lord. I really look forward to making my body weak. Hail. What's the matter with your mind? Waiting for Luo Teng to answer. The music, Come and Get Your Love, sounded when Guardians of Galaxy Star-Lord appeared. Looking at Albedo's blushed cheeks, Luo Teng rolled his eyes slightly in his heart. It's completely normal for Albedo's fantasy-loving character to be excited by some inexplicable things. But why did Bumblebee play this song? Is there always something in common between Doobie and Doobie? Luo Teng thought of the worst teammate Xingju, and felt a sense of powerlessness in his heart. Scoff, in the sound of violent friction between the wheels in the floor. Luo Teng kicked the accelerator and rushed out of the travel agency. After a beautiful flick, the car quickly drove towards the Stark building. Big. Today's Stark building is already crowded with people. Journalists, media and TV media from all walks of life surrounded this place with water. Coupled with some onlookers and hero worshippers who heard the news, the whole street was paralyzed. Notified by Nick Fury, the members of Avengers, who were being interviewed with great interest, walked out of the building together. The employees of the Stark Group used powerful manpower to create a passage on the street. A sports car with a bright yellow color and a sense of technology is slowly coming from the end. Tony, today's teacher Luo, seems to be more ahem than you. Thor nudged Tony Stark with his elbow. He was his teacher after all. He really couldn't say the right adjective. Robin is the biggest hero. He deserves to enjoy it all. Tony spread his hands. He will never admit to his flirtatious things. Everyone nodded definitely when they heard Tony's words. If there is no Luo Teng in the war with the Thanos Legion, the Earth may be destroyed. How can it be so easy to conduct news interviews here? The concept supercar transformed into a bumblebee slowly stopped in front of the gate of Stark building. The people from Avengers stood in a row to greet them. Anyone can see that the person in the car is a higher status than the Avengers member they just wooed. The driver's door opened, and Luo Teng stepped out of the car. The surrounding flashlights flashed, and countless sharp or doubtful questions rushed to his face. Fortunately, the security guards of Stark Industries are strong, otherwise these people would rush up in an instant. Luo Teng straightened his clothes and opened the co-pilot's door. Albedo got out of the car with her feet weak, with a look of spring on her brows. Those who didn't know thought that something happened in the car just now. Angel's face, devil's horns, and black wings on the back. The moment Albedo, a creature that does not belong to the Earth, appeared, the atmosphere on the scene became even more frenzied and irritable. The reporters seemed to be afraid that they would run out of film, and frantically took pictures every second. Kaka. After the two got out of the car, the concept-level sports car quickly turned into a standing figure while the mechanical components were twisting. The Bumblebee also showed its transformed appearance. Compared with the olden vicissitudes of being in a travel agency. The remodeled Bumblebee has bright paint, and every mechanical component seems to be shining. Oh God! What did I see? Autobots. I think I must be crazy, otherwise how could I see such a scene? Oh my God! I'm out of memory cards. Camera, aim at that big machine. The surrounding crowd moved wildly, wanting to get closer. Bumblebee glanced at these people suspiciously, then turned to look at the members of Avengers. Captain America, Iron Man, Green Titan and others, at the moment also looked dumbfounded. "RO. This is..." Tony opened his mouth stupidly, although he really wanted to ask if this is an iRobot. But the agile performance of the Bumblebee does not look like what I can do. Silicon-based life. The intelligence officer of the Cybertronian civilization, you can call him Ian Wasp. Luo Tang had a smile on his face, and was very satisfied with everyone's reaction. This is what he wanted. The crowd was surging, and at a glance, the street had been completely paralyzed. After hearing the news, the crowd surrounded the Stark building so tightly that it seemed that there was no place to step down. Luo Tang stepped into the Stark building, Bumblebee and Albedo followed closely behind him. Thor and others obviously have a great interest in bumblebees. You know, even Thor, who was born in Asgard, has never seen silicon-based life. Go to the second floor of the Stark building, the site of the public meeting. Many mainstream media are already waiting here. The cameras of the major TV stations, even in the face of an empty podium, still broadcast the whole process live. Today is definitely a day that will change the history of human development. After Nick Fury greeted Luo Tang, he hid backstage. SHIELD is a defense organization. If he gets too close this time, the only thing waiting for him is to be laid off. Luo Tang adjusted his clothes under the stage, with a confident smile on his face, waved to the crowd behind him, and walked up. The flash started flickering again. Luo Tang strode forward and sat directly on the main seat in the center. Albedo and Bumblebee stood behind him, one on the left and one on the right. The Avengers, on the other hand, automatically fell behind and took their seats half a meter behind him to show the priority. My name is Luo Tang, one of the Asgardians of the 9 realms, and at the same time, an Asgardian of many worlds. I hope you will listen carefully to what I am going to say next. If you have any questions, you can ask them after I finish speaking. As soon as Luo Tang opened his mouth, he gave himself a tall name. At the same time, the first rule was set for this announcement meeting. Mr. Luo, are you from Earth? It's just obvious that not everyone will abide by Luo Tang's rules. The reporter, who was already accustomed to using the microphone to tease people, immediately stood up and asked. Only when you respect me can you gain my respect, otherwise, I can ask you out. Luo Tang glanced at him, and a sneer smirked at the corner of his mouth. The chicken that made an example to others has jumped out. No. This is my freedom of speech, you have no right. Boom. Luo Tang waved his hand lightly, and the reporter flew out of the window on the second floor. There was an uproar. Mr. Luo Tang, we are just asking. We need to know the truth. Boom. Mr. Luo Tang, this is your Avengers. Boom. Boom. All reporters who dared to stand up and ask questions were thrown out like ragbags. In the beginning, Luo Tang just threw people out, but in the end, he didn't even leave the machines behind. Crazy in front of him? Come to him and talk to him about the right to freedom of speech? The right to know? Don't know whose territory this is. The tough attitude shocked all the reporters, and also made those in power watching the live report frown. Luo Tang's attitude proves that the other party doesn't care what they think. Don't even care about the word of mouth among the common people. After throwing out nearly 20 reporters in a row, there were more than 40 reporters from various media on the scene. Looking at the silent venue, Luo Tang smiled with satisfaction. We don't mind bringing all the people on the earth to progress, so that people can enjoy a better life, have enough time to explore the meaning of life, and enjoy the fun and beauty of life. It's just that I don't want this planet to become a weapon processing factory for some ambitious people, and all people on Earth, like machines, will engage in an arms race with all civilizations in the universe. Wakanda will disclose all technologies related to people's livelihood, from medical technology to spacecraft technology. There are even some technologies that you can't imagine. After today, 24 testing stations will be opened around the world. If you are interested in contributing to the protection of this planet, you can participate in the testing. Everyone may be the next hero. Definitely, you should also be aware that not everyone can be a hero. Factors such as physical fitness and mental will limit the number of heroes. Moreover, fighting alien civilizations will really kill you. If someone fails the test, I hope you can really enjoy the beauty of life. Human life is too short as a few decades. Luo Tang said everything he wanted to say. Seeing the silent scene in the silent reporters, a smile appeared on his face. The age of heroes is about to begin. Those in power are trying to use public opinion to force him to compromise. Do you really think that public opinion can be manipulated by them? Luo Tang got up and left from the venue. He can already foresee that those in power will be furious. It's just that, in the face of absolute strength, their opinions have no effect. Under the cover of the system of the heavens, the other party did not even do such things as verbal criticism. The heavens system can easily block any TV station and media. And when all the people on Earth flocked to the 24 testing stations, expecting themselves to be heroes. Just grab 1 or 2 models and let the people accept this new system. Then everything will be a foregone conclusion. When the reporters at the conference site recovered from the successive news, Luo Tang, Albedo, and Bumblebee had already disappeared from the venue. Look at the high platform with only a bunch of Avengers members. The rest of the reporters almost couldn't help yelling. Nima. It's not a good deal. If there is any question, can I save it until after I finish speaking? Mr. Tony Stark. Mr. Luo said just now, if you have any questions, you can ask after he finished speaking. What about others? A more courageous reporter stood up from his seat in the belief that he would not die if he fell from the 2nd floor. You'd better show some respect, he is a hero. Moreover, when I talk at home he can hear it dozens of miles away. Tony Stark gave the reporter a pitying look. I'm just asking. Respectfully. The reporter's arrogance disappeared immediately, and he added weakly. Luo said just now that he can ask questions after he finishes speaking. You are asking questions now. He is not the one who can only answer questions. Tony Stark shrugged. The reporters all showed expressions of being tricked. WTF. Can you still play like this? This is a language trap to deceive innocent and kind people. Do you have an opinion? Captain America Steve frowned, tapped his index finger on the table and asked. No, the reporter shrank his neck and sat back on his seat. Steve had a relaxed expression on his face, he was reasonable, and it was really comfortable to be so domineering once in a while. After a brief interlude, the announcement meeting entered a normal question and answer session. The members of Avengers tried their best to answer the questions of everyone present. 66666, Ancient One Magician, do you think I did something wrong? Luo Tang looked at the Ancient One Magician who appeared in the travel agency, and asked with a chuckle. Try to make people live a happier life, and use the smallest cost to protect the peace of the entire Earth. You are doing better than anyone else. The Ancient One Magician praised Luo Tang without hesitation. Then why are you here? Kamar Taj wants to protect the world, but our strength is always limited. Understood. When recruiting in the future, those who have the ability of esoteric magic will be given priority to Kamar Taj to choose. Grateful. There was a smile on Ancient One Magician's face. Luo Tang shrugged, also smiling from the very beginning. He was not prepared to deal with the people who were selected later. After all, not everyone is 50-50 in Captain America, and not everyone has the courage to sacrifice for everyone. The price to be paid to promote them is too great, and he prefers to hand over these people to Avengers or Kamar Taj. The Ancient One Magician took the initiative to speak, which means he has earned an extra favor. He wants to study Time Gem in the future. This kind of favor, maybe the time will be just right. Pepperpots requested a call, is it connected? A reminder came from the heavens system. Luo Tang put one hand on his right ear and picked up the other party's phone. Mr. Luo, the 24 industries you want throughout the world's core cities have been selected. Well, let Jarvis pass these data over. Okay, Mr. Luo. After Potts finished speaking, he hung up the phone neatly. A few seconds later, Jarvis sent a set of electronic documents. The industry of the Stark Industrial Group, after Tony came back from the Middle East, has been undergoing continuous transformation. People's livelihood, catering, medical care, clean energy, environmental protection energy. Almost all over the world, there are industries of the Stark Group. At the request of Luo Tang, Potts selected 24 industries as monitoring stations and selection points. What Luo Tang has to do is to set up checkpoints that can test people's hearts in these 24 industries. After talking to Ancient One Magician, he left the travel agency directly. With the ability of the heavens system to redefine reality, and the magic from Tushan, Kamar Taj, Xingyue and other worlds, he has set up 7 tests in each place. The first level of the test is human nature and physical condition. Those who lack humanity and cannot resist even ordinary illusions will be eliminated directly. The remaining people with higher physical fitness will enter Channel A, and those with lower physical fitness will enter Channel B. Almost eliminating the possibility of missing checks. Everyone will face 3 checkpoints, and those who can pass must be elites. The only problem is that the level of Luo Tang is obviously not that simple. It is estimated that even if the Avengers go up, more than half of them will be brushed off. After all, he doesn't want to be the babysitter for a bunch of brats. Ding. Magical Girl Madoka World's ground connection station has been successfully established, a two-way channel has been opened, and the world timeline is being synchronized. The system prompt sounded. Luo Tang, who had almost finished setting up the last testing station, had a look of surprise on his face. It wasn't long before Kame Madoka returned to the world of magical girls. The speed of this little girl is really not ordinary fast. The tragic problem in the magical girl Madoka world has not been completely resolved. The shackles of cause and effect and the existence of aliens like Chubby have always threatened their survival. For the previous travel missions, Madoka just found a solution to the symptoms. Have they survived Witch Night safely? Is Homura still using time rewind endlessly? Are they still facing despair over and over again? Thoughts were running wild in Luo Tang's mind, and he couldn't help feeling a little worried. Madoka is a good girl, she should have shouldered heavy responsibilities when she was supposed to be a carefree young girl. If possible, Luo Tang would naturally want to help her. After communicating with Jarvis and leaving some instructions, he hurried back to the travel agency. With Jarvis present, the other party will convey his orders directly to Tony Stark. And the Avengers will know what to do next. As soon as he entered the door, Luo Tang's expression became extraordinarily exciting. Kamu Madoka, Akami Homura, Bamami, Sayaka, and Sakura Kyoko faintly surrounded Albedo. The five little girls had nervous expressions on their faces, and the air was full of solemnity. Albedo sat gracefully on the sofa, holding a cup of coffee and sipping the fragrant cocoa. She turned a blind eye to the siege of five magical girls. Bumblebee squatted in a corner of the travel agency and played a dynamic BGM to several people without any discernment. It looks like he's afraid he won't be able to fight. You guys, what are you doing? Luo Tang walked into the hall and looked at the confronting people with a dazed expression. Nima. It hasn't been 5 minutes since he heard the system prompt. If he came back later, wouldn't the travel agency stage a magical girl versus white devil drama? Master President. She. After Xiaoyuan saw Luo Tang, her tense spirit suddenly relaxed, and she looked terrified. I greeted several magical girls, and they all backed up to Luo Tang. The pressure Albedo put on them was really too great. What happened to Albedo? Luo Tang frowned, already having a bad premonition in his heart. Albedo with a justice value of -500 in the magical girls are 100% born with incompatibility. What happened when he was not there just now? She said our souls exude a delicious fragrance, so I want to eat them. When Xiaoyuan talked about what happened just now, Yuan's little face was still full of fear. Demons or something, are they even scarier than Witch Night? She probably is. Praising you, yes, that's it. Luo Tang twitched his cheeks, looking for lame excuses. Ba-mami, Akami Homura, Sayaka, and Sakura Kyoko suddenly showed expressions of, you're F***king kidding me. So it is. Xiaoyuan nodded seriously, with a suddenly enlightened expression on his small face. Yuanxiang, do you believe this too? Sakura Kyoko blinked her eyes and looked at Madoka with a full of bewilderment. If you say this, it looks like you are lying to a child. Kamu Madoka, where is your IQ? Because I believe that the president, the people around him will definitely not be enemies. A bright smile spread across Xiaoyuan's face. During the last trip, Luo Tang not only made her meet many people who were willing to help her. It even helped her solve the Witch's Night, and change the endlessly repeated tragic fate. Sister Dr. Fairy, Sister Danvers, Gohan, Sister Yaya, Sister Honghong, Sister Rongrong. She remembers everyone who helped her. For the gentle and powerful president, she is naturally an unconditional great mission. Luo Tang scratched the tip of his nose, and secretly gave Albedo a wink. Scaring some little girl, don't you know it's a bit difficult to coax? It seems that I was rude just now, the war during this period is too confusing, sorry to scare you. With a kind smile on her face, Albedo said something to Madoka and the others. She really just sighed subconsciously just now. You know, even in the face of Angel, who is naturally hostile to demons, she has never expressed the slightest opinion. As one of the Venerable's subordinates, she will never be separated by mere camps. Have any impact on the Supreme Venerable's plan to conquer the world. War? President, is there anything I can do to help? Madoka is a little girl, although sometimes she is a little innocent, but her mind is very sensitive. Hearing the word, war, he subconsciously asked. It's over, we repelled the aliens' attack. Albedo also contributed a lot. Luo Tang touched the tip of his nose. Killing a Leviathan creature monster should take a lot of effort. Should be. Is that so? That would be great. With a happy smile on Xiaoyuan's face, she felt happy for Luo Tang from the bottom of her heart. As an apology, let me treat you to a nice dinner. Albedo spoke with a smile. With an angel-like appearance and a smart mind, she wants to get along well with people, and it couldn't be easier. In just over 10 minutes, Madoka and Sayaka forgot what they were scared of just now. Asking around Albedo. Sakura Kyoko, Bamami, and Akami Homura, although still on guard, were not as hostile as before. They have to admit that the elder sister with black wings in front of her is really a very gentle person except for being a bit perverted. All heavens, scan Akami Homura's body, magic gems, and analyze her magic. Luo Tang sat quietly on the sofa, listening to the silver bell-like laughter of the girls. He has been envious of Akami Homura's magic for a long time. In Luo Tang's view, the 5 magical girls in front of him are almost a perfect team configuration. Sayaka is a high defense fighter. Sakura Kyoko is a control-type assassin. Asami is a mid-range output, and Madoka Kamu is a long-range output. In addition, Xiao Meian, the group control plus group resurrection nurse, exists. This small team, as long as they don't encounter monsters whose strength exceeds their level too much, they will definitely be able to win the battle. Among them, the most important one is Xiao Meian. The magic that can stop time and go back in time, no matter how you look at it, it is abnormal to the extreme. You must know that the magic of going back in time does not affect 1 or 2 people, but the whole world. Apart from the theory of the ring after Kamu Yuan became a god, her magic is undoubtedly the most perverted. It has been detected that Xiao Meiyan's body is highly similar to Kamaru, and the soul carrier magic gem has been analyzed. The time magic automatically matches the principle of Kamar Taj time gem, and the analysis progress is 1%. Akami Homura's body and magic gemstones are similar in nature to Kame Madoka. As magical girls, their souls are no longer in their bodies, but in magic gems. Luo Tang had completely analyzed Madoka's body before, and also obtained the opponent's magic. It should not be too difficult to analyze Akami Homura's magic again. But in fact, the analysis progress of the heavens system is horribly slow. Time magic is really not easy. Luo Tang smacked his lips, but he didn't pay attention to the analysis progress. After all, the analysis progress of life cards is much slower than magic at this time. Luo, have you forgotten about me? Bumblebee said aggrievedly in the corner. He just wanted to know where the Autobots could transfer and avoid the sea war. Haven't you already prepared to tell him? This has been dragging on for a long time. Xiao Meian and the others originally thought that the Bumblebee crouching in the corner was a jukebox with a unique appearance. But at the moment the Bumblebee opened its mouth suddenly, making their bodies all stiff. You're scaring the little girls. Luo Tang glanced at Bumblebee angrily. To be honest, he kind of didn't know what to do with the Bumblebee. The last 10% core data of silicon-based life still cannot be analyzed. It's a bit of a loss to let the Bumblebee go directly, but if you keep them here, can you really increase your favorability enough? 90 favorability degree, but already willing to give his life for him. Although Bumblebee has a good personality, he is not stupid. Without the special experience of sharing weal and woe, how could it be possible for people's favorability to soar above 90? Okay, I'm sorry, but, Rob, my hometown is under fire. Bumblebee spread his hands helplessly. Okay, I'll tell you where there is a suitable place for you to survive, but as a deal, after you go back, help me promote the travel agency. Definitely. If you really help us, we will tell your story. Bumblebee moved to Luo Tang's side, with rare seriousness and affection in his big electronic eyes. Luo Tang sighed. He was really afraid that something would happen to the world of shapeshifting King Kong without Bumblebee. For example, the Autobots were completely wiped out? Think of it as a disaster. Okay. Autobots are gone. If he wants to get something like a source of fire, isn't he going to receive someone like Megatron? The purpose of that guy's travel is definitely not to conquer the world or something. Luo Tang shook his head, throwing out the random thoughts in his mind. Using the star map in the Thanos battleship, compared with the star map transmitted by the Bumblebee, the Earth and several planets suitable for survival are marked. These planets, according to the knowledge in the database, roughly divided the recommendation degree. Among them, The recommendation degree of the Earth is 95. The environment of the Earth is not necessarily the most suitable for Autobots to survive. But it is undeniable that the people on Earth have been helping the Autobots to resist the Decepticons. Ding, Tourist Bumblebee. The travel purpose is achieved. You can return to the original world at any time, or wait for the expiration of 1 month to return to the original world. Ding. Complete the tourist reception. The host can choose any ability, bloodline, and items of the Bumblebee. After Bumblebee received the star map sent back by Luo Tang, the system sent a reminder. Space ripples also rippled on the gate of the travel agency. Luo, you are a good friend. If Cybertron didn't need me, I really want to chat with you here. In fact, I still have several songs I want to play for you. I will definitely introduce you to all my friends. You are the best carbon-based life I have ever seen. Bumblebee stood up from the ground, with a bit of childlike reluctance in his eyes. It's just that this guy's chattering state made Luo Tang's eyebrows twitch. If you want to go, just go. You've been rambling for 5 full minutes. Do you think it's really embarrassing to have the sounder repaired? I think that Optimus Prime's life may be hanging by a thread, and the source of fire is likely to be robbed. Oh yes. I shouldn't be here. Nah. They need me. Bumblebee heard Luo Tang's heartbreaking words, turned around and rushed into the space gate without thinking. Ding, Tourist Bumblebee has returned to the original world. When the system prompt sounded, Luo Tang rubbed his chin and began to inquire about the system of Wanji Travel Agency. System, can I copy Bumblebee? The Bumblebee is a complete independent living entity, and the host is asked to designate the copy target ability, bloodline, and items. Then can I make a copy of its silicon-based life core? If not integrate, just put it in the warehouse's secret. The host can copy any lifeblood and choose whether to integrate. The system's answer brought a satisfied smile to Luo Tang's face. His only regret on the Bumblebee is that he failed to fully analyze the core of silicon-based life. Since it can be copied now, naturally there is no regret at all. But, what the hell, the core of silicon-based life is classified in the category of blood vessels. The classification of your system, isn't it too careless? Luo Tang complained in his heart, and spoke to the system again. Give me a copy of the silicon-based life core of the Bumblebee, and store it in the system warehouse. Ding. 600 silicon-based life cores to store in the system warehouse. He glanced at the orange-red core jumping like flames in the system warehouse. Luo Tang narrowed his eyes slightly. Master President, can we go on a trip together? Xiaoyuan walked up to Luo Tang with an embarrassed expression on her face. She had promised her little friends before that she would take them to other worlds to see together. If you were rejected, you may be very disappointed. Definitely, Yaya misses you very much recently, you better go see her first. Luo Tang touched Xiaoyuan's little head, and after pondering for a while, recommended the world of the Fox Demon Matchmaker. The Marvel Earth where he lives is now in chaos. On the side of the Angel civilization, Keisha and the others not only have to study the Void Engine, but also collect the things left by the Kamigawa civilization, and the time is quite tight. In comparison, the Fox Fairy Little Matchmaker world has become the most suitable place to visit. Moreover, as Yaya said last time, she hopes to entertain some tourists. After all, for her, the Point Mall is a shortcut to quickly improve her strength. Master President, thank you. Madoka bowed with joy, turned around and excitedly told the other magical girls. The magical girls are naturally curious about the fox demon who can reincarnate. After a simple dinner, the little girls couldn't wait to say goodbye and went to the world of fox demons. After the absence of tourists, Luo Tang has also relaxed a lot. Because of running around for days, he and Albedo went back to the room to rest early. 66666 In the past few days, the countries of the Earth almost went into chaos. There are testing stations in 24 major cities around the world, so that those who want to become heroes almost step through the threshold. People frantically poured into the testing station. If it weren't for various countries to maintain order by force, I'm afraid they would have to mess up directly. Every day there are so few lucky ones who pass the level successfully. According to their qualifications and personal wishes, they either joined the team under the Avengers or went to Kamar Taj. The pitifully low success rate not only didn't make everyone retreat, but aroused their enthusiasm even more. In the eyes of everyone, a hero should be 1 in 1,000. On the second day, Wakanda held a global press conference, officially announcing some high-level technologies related to people's livelihood. Although countries still have illusions about high-level weapons, no one wants to be one step behind at this time. The Earth has entered an era where technology and heroes coexist. After resting for nearly a week, Luo Teng just felt a sense of rebirth. Before that period of time, it was too busy. He ran around in several worlds without touching the ground, either fighting wars or receiving tourists. During the rare rest time these few days, he sorted out what he had obtained. Mind Gem. Sword of Vowed Victory, Silicon-based Life Core, Time Magic, Life Card. Mind Gem has been parsed. Now Luo Teng has been able to easily control people's hearts through the Heavens system. The Sword of Vowed Victory also analyzed the results a few days ago. Although the diversity of treasures determines that it is impossible to understand the essence of treasures through one treasure. But the weapon casting technology in the database has improved a lot because of this research. The core of silicon-based life has been basically studied. It's just that the more he researches, the more Luo Teng feels that this thing is dangerous. Silicon-based life, there are really too many uncertainties. And Xiao Mian's time magic and life cards. The former Luo Teng has been able to use it initially. Although the maximum retrospective time is only 1 year, it is already nearly 10 times that of Xiao Mian. As for the latter, there are so many possibilities. Luo Teng muttered to himself. What the life card records is indeed the life evolution equation. In theory, it does have the ability to allow life to evolve to an extreme level. But its evolution rule is disordered. Atlantis civilization discovered the life equation, but failed to perfect the life equation. Just like the genes on Luo Teng, if this equation is used under the gestation of an energy absorption that lasted forever, there are too many shapes that he may have evolved. Saiyans, angels, dragons, monkeys, yokai, even triangles. How could he accept such a result? And the difficulty of perfecting the life equation is no less than researching a sacred body. Forget it. Let it go first, and talk about it later. Luo Teng stretched long. For him, instead of painstaking research, it is better to wait for the completion of the supercomputing group of the heavens and let it be perfected slowly. After so many days of rest, pick up another guest? Luo Teng muttered something. There are still more than 10 days left before Albedo's return is a month away. This also means that he has to wait more than 10 days before the tourist list will be refreshed. Based on the idea that no matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat, he opened the tourist list and picked up a sea-level tourist. There were familiar ripples at the gate of the travel agency. Albedo, who had seen this scene several times before, quietly stood behind Luo Teng. My lord, are the beings here this time also strange beings? No, he's an old necromancer. A smile appeared on Luo Teng's face, and he looked towards the gate of the travel agency. The vicissitudes of the old man wearing half-moon glasses slowly walked out of the light door of space. Under the tall and thin figure, the silver hair and white beard are already so long that they can be tucked into the waistband of his trousers. The purple cloak that was dragged to the ground gave him a sense of vicissitudes and mystery. Albus Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, a leading necromancer, a respectable old necromancer. I have lived for more than 100 years, but I have never seen anything more miraculous than this. Including the Philosopher's Stone? Including the Philosopher's Stone. Dumbledore nodded. Although his figure was a little stooped, his blue eyes were shining brightly. Ding. Fate Holy Grail World Ground Station has been successfully established, a two-way channel has been opened, and the world timeline is being synchronized. The system notification sound came suddenly. Luo Teng blinked. F*K it won't be opened sooner or later, it will be opened as soon as he picks up the tourists here? Big brother. We're back. Where are you? Yaya's voice was only a few tenths of a second behind the system notification tone. And before Luo Teng could reply, the system of Wanji Travel Agency sent him another 4 prompts. Ding. The reception of Sayaka Miki, the independent tourist, is completed. The employee, Yaya Tushan, gets 1,500 points, and the host gets 1,500 points. Ding. The reception of the independent tourist Bamame is completed. The employee Tushan Yaya gets 1,200 points, and the host gets 1,200 points. Ding. The self-service tourist Sakura Kyoko's reception has been completed. The employee Tushan Yaya has received 1,000 points, and the host has received 1,000 points. Ding. Self-service tourist Xiao Mian's reception is complete. Employee Tushan Yaya gets 1,000 points, and the host gets 1,000 points. 4 notification sounds, a full 4,700 points. Adding the previous 500 points of Captain Marvel, Luo Tang already has 5,300 points. System. What's going on? Why are the points different? Points are determined based on multiple factors such as reception time and tourist satisfaction. Wanji Travel Agency systematically answered Luo Tang's questions. Wow wow wow. Big brother. I have 5,300 points. As long as I have another 3,000 points, I can increase my demon power once. Yaya excitedly ran out from the back hall. After seeing Luo Tang, he swooped into his arms. Big brother, give me some more tourists, please, just a little bit. Yaya has a coquettish and cute look on her face. Seeing that the promotion is coming soon, the little fox demon should not be too excited. Well, how about finding some sister angel for you to go on vacation later? Luo Tang touched the little girl's head, thought for a while, and said something. There are more than 500 Miss Angels in Proxima Centauri who have worked for him for so long. When they finish their work, organize a group tour. Wow. Sister Ba Mame, the method you mentioned is really useful. Yaya turned her head to look at the magical girl Mommy. Ba Mommy looked betrayed, as speechless as she could be. She really just let Xiao Yaya try to act coquettishly and show off the girl's strengths. Moreover, this kind of thing, just do it, how can you say it? Shua. The door to the Holy Grail world of fate in the back hall lights up, and Rin Tasaka and Artoria walked out of the door together. The already lively hall became even more lively. After a simple self-introduction, the atmosphere of the group of girls quickly became harmonious. Yaya has a new friend, and after learning that Tasaka Rin is also an employee, she returns to Tushan like a gust of wind, and pulls Hong Hong and Rongrong over. Albedo skillfully connected to Jarvis through the ordering counter set up by Luo Tang, and ordered a lot of drinks and meals. After the meal was delivered, the atmosphere of the group became more harmonious. Beautiful girls' dinner. Looking at the bustling back hall, Luo Tang felt a little emotional. Should he find a chef or other service staff? If he remembers correctly, he once saw Nakiri Arena on the tourist list. Merlin, this is a grand gathering of magic. It took a long time for Albus Dumbledore to come back to his senses. Originally, Luo Tang already made him feel unfathomable. Albedo made him feel the black magic aura stronger than Voldemort's. Tu Shanhonghong and Artoria are not inferior to Albedo at all. Its strong aura even made him think that Merlin was alive. Ya, Wrong, Rin Tasaka, Madoka Kame, Homura Akatsuki. Every child here is like a miracle in the world, stronger than the elite auras. Magic extravaganza. Luo Tang raised his eyebrows, looking at the bustling travel agency. An idea popped into his mind. Principal Dumbledore, are you interested in chatting with some older necromancers and secret magicians? It is my honor, President Luo Tang. Dumbledore's tone was still neither humble nor overbearing, but there was a bit more expectation in his eyes. In his world, there are few people who can compare with him in magic attainments. If only I could find someone to talk to here. This trip will definitely become the most perfect trip in his life. Luo Tang smiled slightly, and contacted the Ancient One Magician and Queen Frigga through the Heavens system. In just a short while, the Ancient One Magician, who was shaking a small fan made of jade bones, pushed open the door of the travel agency with two magicians who seemed to be quite young at first glance. As for the Kung Fu, the Queen of Heaven, Frigga, also walked into the travel agency with two older female necromancers. Luo Tang, Frigga, Ancient One. The trio pretty much stands at the top of the magician in the contemporary Marvel universe. Even Frigga, the Queen of Heaven who was killed by Malekith, the monarch of the Dark World, is quite powerful in the original book. After all, the Queen of Heaven, Frigga, was the one who taught the #1 magician Loki in the 9 realms. Although Loki doesn't seem to like using spells against enemies, he always holds a small dagger and regards himself as an assassin. Luo, you rarely invite us. With a faint smile on his face, Ancient One's teacher glanced at the lively back hall, and a strange look flashed in his eyes. Is this an exchange meeting from multiple worlds? Mr. Luo, this is the first time you have invited me. The Queen, Fuli Jia Yingying saluted, showing her unique gentleness and grace. It's the first time that my place is so lively. Come, let me introduce you. Luo Tang introduced Dumbledore to Frigga and Ancient One. Dumbledore felt the aura of the two, and showed corresponding respect. These two, it's just that they are older. The Queen Frigga is at least several thousand years old, and the Ancient One magician beside him has a lifespan several times longer than him. Sitting in the back hall, everyone was divided into two small circles based on age at first. But after chatting, everyone gathered together. Albedo selflessly shared the undead magic she knew, and the magical girls also demonstrated their own magic. Tasaka Rin narrated Xingyu's magic concept, and Tu Shan Honghong also showed Tu Shan's housekeeping skills. The Queen Frigga and Ancient One Magician opened their eyes and shared their knowledge selflessly. Dumbledore didn't know how many times he sighed with emotion, Merlin as above. He also contributed a variety of knowledge from alchemy to black magic and black magic defense. Gathering of bigwigs from all over the world. A magic festival. It feels like an offline meet and greet meeting. Luo Tang scratched his chin and muttered something in his heart. This kind of brainstorming gathering also benefited him a lot. With the system of the heavens, the magic concepts of the people and some ideas occasionally put forward have given him a lot of inspiration. The reason why the human brain is more powerful than computers is that the human brain has unlimited potential for innovation. Often a flash of inspiration can solve countless problems. After this chat, everyone chatted from early morning to noon. Albedo ordered food for everyone again. The topics of the people were no longer limited to magic, but chatted all over the place. By the way, Madoka, I haven't asked you all this time, what are the conditions for setting up your ground station? Luo Tang sat on the sofa and casually asked. Madoka came beside him. Collect 108 seeds of lamentation and defeat the witch in the barrier of the witch's night. Madoka blinked her big eyes, and replied honestly. Is this difficulty too big for you? Rin Tasaka, who was on the side, came over curiously when he heard about the ground pickup station. Fortunately, after my magic weapon was tempered by Yaya's flame, it became much easier to kill the witch, and Bama Meme and the others also helped a lot. Madoka scratched her head shyly. With pure Yang Yan, it is really easy for her to kill the witch. Although there are a lot of seeds of lamentation, they can gather them quickly with the combined power of 5 people, as they don't need to purify their spiritual cores. The same is true for Witch's Night. In the face of pure Yang Yan, it is perfectly restrained. You still have someone to help. Tasaka Rin's expression was exceptionally wonderful, and she was clearly saying why she was the only one suffering. Your ground station. What's the request? Luo Tang raised his eyebrows. Xiaoyuan's request just now made him a little surprised. After all, this was the first time he had heard that apart from location requirements, there were also material requirements for the establishment of ground stations. The clock in the clock tower, the psionic pillar in the Atlas Institute, and the stone coffin that wanders in the sea are set up in the spirit center of Fuyuki City. Luo Tang's cheeks twitched slightly. Clock Tower, Atlas Yard, and Wandering Sea are the 3 major magician organizations in the world where Rin Tosaka lives. And what Rin Tosaka said is obviously very important to the 3 major organizations. No wonder she created a ground pickup station like this. It's so difficult. Wow. You are the worst I have ever seen besides Sister Hexy. Yaya's little head got into the crowd and gave Tasaka Rin a sympathetic look. Luo Tang had a pensive look in his eyes. The request of the super god world is to be built next to the big clock. In terms of material, there should be some requirements, but Hexy's status determines the normal material, and there is nothing she can't get. Ya is built in the Misery Tree, which already contains the location and materials. Madoka's location is in the special enchantment where Witch Night is located, and the material is the Seed of Lamentation. Rin Tasaka's location is simple, but the materials are a bit cheating. The establishment of the ground station seems to be more difficult than he imagined. No wonder it took so long to open the 4 worlds. Sister Hexy? Rin Tasaka had some doubts in her eyes. She hadn't seen Hexy yet. Sister Hexy fought a war at the level of cosmic civilization in order to establish a ground connection station. It seems to have been fought for more than 1,000 years, and many sisters angel died. Ya looked like a little adult, answering Tasaka Rin's question. What about your request? Rin Tasaka had an incredulous expression on his face. The civilization of the universe has fought for more than 1,000 years. So terrible. Mine is very simple, just dig a hole. There are flying darts from the Big Brother. Boom. Yaya straightened her breasts, and before she could finish speaking it, she was suddenly hit on the top of her head. Simple? Tu Shan appeared behind her with a red face and a dark face. The bitterness tree is Tu Shan's lifeblood. A gate of more than 3 meters was opened directly, and the inside was dug out even more horribly. If Yaya wasn't her own sister, she would have to tell Yaya what cruelty is. It's not easy. I dug very hard. Boom. Yaya explained in a panic, but was once again mercilessly attacked by Tu Shanhonghong. The extremely sharp-cutting fairy flying darts sarcasm love tree, dare to say hard work. She, Tu Shan, is not such a fool. Luo Teng touched the tip of his nose, turning his head in embarrassment. He really can't intervene in this matter. Who made him the culprit of all events? If there is no such thing as a ground pickup station, Yaya would not be sarcasm about love tree if she is stupid. An exchange meeting was not announced until the lights came on. Madoka and other magical girls left and returned to the world of magical girls. After the witch's night, despite the consumption of a lot of negative wishes, no more seeds of lamentation will be hatched in a short period of time. But they have been away for many days, and they don't go back, and they don't know if there will be a new witch coming. Tu Shan Hong Hong and Tu Shan Rongrong also returned to their world. Tu Shan, who has a big family and a big business, basically has new reincarnations every day, and many red thread immortals return to submit tasks. Although the little girl Yaya wanted to stay. But Tu Shan Hong Hong was obviously afraid that she and Luo Teng would fail, so she directly carried her back. Dumbledore followed the Ancient One magician to Kamar Taj. The two have a lot in common in their understanding of magic, and they seem to hate seeing each other later. On the contrary, Tasaka Rin and Artoria did not rush back to the original world, and stayed in the guest room of the travel agency. Nights without words. Early the next morning, Luo Teng heard the sound of a sword cutting through the air again from the second floor. Arturia began to practice kendo as usual early in the morning. Good morning. Luo Teng lay on the banister of the stairs and said hello. Good morning. Arturia stopped practicing sword practice and greeted her earnestly. There was some appreciation in Luo Teng's eyes. Among the people he knew, in terms of hard work, Arturia deservedly ranked first. And when it comes to dealing with people, the other party's etiquette is also impeccable. Even if it's just a normal greeting, the other party will stop what they are doing to show respect. What do you want for breakfast? If possible, I would like to try the breakfast in Sha Luo's hometown. Rin Chan, get up and cook. Luo Teng nodded, and decisively called out Rin Tasaka, who is a good cook. He rarely asks Jarvis to deliver meals if someone is cooking at home. It's not that the food cooked by the other party's chef is not delicious, but that the exquisite food lacks the taste of family. Hi. Wait for me for 5 minutes. Tasaka Rin responded in the room, as if he had already gotten used to the life of getting up early and cooking. By the way, how did you two meet? Luo Teng sat casually on the sofa on the second floor, asking Arturia, who stopped practicing sword. 2 days ago, I was Rin's follower, and we created the ground station together. Are you Rin's servant? Yes, there seems to be some kind of strong connection between Rin and me. She summoned me without using any holy relic. Luo Teng looked confused. He didn't need to guess, it must be the trick of Wanji Travel Agency. Apart from being employees of a travel agency, there is no relationship between Tasaka Rin and Arturia at all, okay? Wait. The Fifth Holy Grail War has begun. Luo Teng's eyebrows twitched, and he asked immediately. You created a travel agency, and then the Holy Grail War stopped? Luo, you seem to have forgotten that you once told me the truth about the Holy Grail, and I also told Rin this. Arturia put the sword in her hand back into the weapon rack. After a moment of silence, her topic turned in another direction. Rom, since the establishment of the ground station, I seem to be different. What's different? More real, more free, I feel like, could live here forever. Arturia's words made Luo Teng feel a guess. After getting his promise, it is obvious that King Dumao has no such great desire to return to the day of the king's election. In other words, the other party chose to believe him between Aliashi and him. In this way, the contract between the other party and Alaya has already been terminated. After the establishment of the ground station, Dumao Wang felt more free, probably because of the ground station. Ground pickup stations protect employees. Fifth Holy Grail War. Luo Teng frowned, with a painful expression on his face. The beginning of the Fifth Holy Grail War somewhat disrupted his plans. Originally, according to his ideas, wait for time magic and time gem to be researched clearly. After obtaining the PIM particles and researching the traversal navigator, he went to the world of Tasaka Rin. In one fell swoop, he changed some things that made him very uncomfortable. It's just that now that the Fifth Holy Grail War has begun, the timeline has advanced a lot in one fell swoop. You guys have breakfast on your own, you don't need to call Albedo, I'll go out for a while. Luo Teng frowned and got up from the sofa. If he doesn't do some things, he will be really tired. Randomly drawing a circle of arcane magic light leading to Kamar Taj, Luo Teng strode in. The Ancient One magician still had a kind and indifferent expression on his face. Beside him, Dumbledore's eyes were full of doubts, but he didn't understand why Luo Teng came here. Didn't Ancient One magician say that the other party rarely comes? Ancient One magician, I'm here to borrow the Eye of Agamotto, I want to save someone. Luo Teng didn't say much, and started to get straight to the point. Eye of Agamotto, Time Gem. In Luo Teng's view, Time Gem wants to go back to the past, divided into two methods. The first is a kind of reversal of cause and effect, forcibly restoring the entire world to the time when a certain event did not happen. The second is like time travel, arriving at any point in time. The dark energy consumed by the former is extremely terrifying. Even when Time Gem goes back in time, it will only draw a little power from the user. But if the backtracking time is too long, the consumption will double and continue to grow. The latter can watch the past in the future with minimal consumption, but like a spectator, they cannot change the past in the future. Luo Teng originally studied the knowledge of Kamar Taj time. Now add the magic of Akatsuki Homura from the world of magical girl Madoka, and the concept of time from the world of Harry Potter time converter. His understanding of the time rule has undoubtedly reached a higher level. Although it is difficult to change Artoria's past, it is not too difficult to change some things he wants to change. After hearing Luo Teng's words, Ancient One magician had a calm and peaceful smile on his face. Dumbledore, who was sitting aside, also had a meaningful expression on his face. My request is a little too much. Luo Teng blinked, saw the expressions of the two, and asked subconsciously. The Eye of Agamotto is guarded by the Sorcerer Supreme, and is used to fight against the dark dimension in different space. Its importance is beyond doubt. It's just that the relationship between him and Ancient One magician is only borrowed, and the other party should not refuse it. I just told Dean Dumbledore that I want to give it to you for safekeeping. The Ancient One magician smiled, his hands blooming like lotus flowers. While the dark energy was surging, Eye of Agamotto was opened, and the time gem inside was taken out by Ancient One magician. I keep it. You have more ability to protect it than I do, and I believe you will use it to do the right thing. Ancient One magician handed the time gem to Luo Teng. Although her words are light, they are full of trust. After getting along for so long, she has seen many things in Luo Teng that others don't have. Compared to the Stephen Strange she saw in Eye of Agamotto a long time ago. The Luo Teng in front of him is undoubtedly more reassuring. Even if Strange will become the best of the Sorcerers Supreme in the future, it is the same. Thanks. Luo Teng frowned, he never thought that time gem would be obtained by him in such a way. However, facing one of the infinite rough stones, he couldn't find any reason to refuse at all. In other words, this is what he has always expected. Ancient One magician, I took the infinity stone, how do you resist Dormammu? After Luo Teng accepted the time gem, he asked a question. We still have you. The Ancient One magician smiled slightly, but didn't really care. With the existence of some Luo Teng, the lineup of Earth's secret magicians is unprecedentedly strong. Plus those children who have been screened out and are determined to protect the world with outstanding ability. In the short term, there is no need to worry about Dormammu's comeback. Okay. I heard that Odin's treasury has 2 items that are suitable for magicians. I will exchange them with Odin and give them to you. Luo Teng touched the tip of his nose. It was hard for him to be indifferent to the gift and trust of Ancient One magician. He is like this, if you respect me 1 foot, I will pay you 10 feet back. I don't always like to owe others. The sphere of Egmotor and the Eye of the Warlock? There was a slight surprise on the Ancient One magician's face. Right. Luo Teng nodded, and couldn't help but curse in his heart. Why is there something in Odin's treasure curry that Ancient One magician knows so well? Are you sure you won't let that guy Odin sleep and eat? Thank you. The Ancient One magician smiled slightly, obviously satisfied with the 2 treasures mentioned by Luo Teng. The sphere of Agamotto is similar to the Eye of Agamotto in that they both peer into a corner of the future. The scene of the destruction of Asgard in the original book was predicted by the Ball of Egmoto. The Warlock's Eye can help dispel the energy of the dark dimension. It can be said that the combined power of the 2 of them is not much worse than Time Gem. The only difference, probably, is that they cannot change the time, while the Time Gem can. It's me who should say thank you. Luo Teng turned the Time Gem into the system warehouse. Although Kamar Taj has done a lot of research on Time Gem, they still haven't brought its power to the extreme. This kind of thing, Perhaps only when the Luo Tang supercomputing group goes online can it fully exert its power. After bidding farewell to Ancient One Magician, Luo Tang went to Nidaway Planet and spent half a day casting something. Time Turner, Time Gem, Time Magic, Time Transformer right. Although they are all related to time, there are many nuances in the use of time rules. The most powerful and comprehensive of these, of course, is the Time Gem. But Akami Homura's Time Magic and Time Converter also have their unique and extremely powerful features. After finishing the Time Turner, Luo Tang returned to the travel agency. Looking at Rin Tasaka, who was practicing magic on the second floor and fighting back and forth with Artoria, he asked, "Rin, do you know that you have a younger sister?" Rin Tasaka, who was absent-minded for a moment, was sent flying by Artoria. After being pulled up by Artoria, she said softly with a hesitant expression on her face, "I know. According to the agreement between the Tasaka family and the Matu family, the adoption was given to the Matu family, because of the existence of the agreement. I cannot recognize her. Do you want her back? Forget it. I am now an important wanted criminal of the 3 major magician institutions, and anyone who touches me will be very troublesome." Luo Tang was stunned for a moment, and immediately figured out the cause and effect. The conditions for the establishment of the travel agency's ground pickup station are too cheating, although Rin Tasaka's strength is much stronger than in the original book. But stealing the holy objects of the 3 major organizations in a row, how could it not be discovered? I am afraid that in the Xingyue world, Tasaka Rin has become the existence that everyone shouts and beats in the circle of magicians. If we say that in the process of establishing the ground station, Hexi is the most difficult. That Tasaka Rin is definitely the worst since the station was established. Luo Tang was puzzled at first, why this little girl didn't go back to her own world, but stayed with him. Rin has become the public enemy of magicians after spending a long time trying to pick up the station. Let me help you solve it. Luo Tang frowned. As the head of a travel agency, he has a reason to solve the problem for the employees, and this problem was originally caused by the travel agency. No, they can't get into the ground pickup station anyway. Rin Tasaka shook his head, and once again made a fighting gesture against Artoria. Vision determines the height of thought. After seeing the scenes of the 10,000 Realms, her obsession with the fame of the Tasaka family has faded. In other words, she knew what she was going to face when she decided to set up a ground pickup station. What if I say that Sakura's life at Matu's house is not good? Rin Tasaka was sent flying by Artoria again. King Dumao sighed helplessly, walked over and pulled Tasaka Rin up again. Luo Tang briefly talked about what happened to Sakura at Matu's house. Just after hearing the beginning, Tasaka Rin suddenly turned around. His fists were clenched tightly, his knuckles were faintly white due to excessive force, and there was an uncontrollable anger in his cold eyes. "President, help me. Let's go." Luo Tang shrugged and headed towards the back hall of the travel agency. "My lord, is there anything Albedo can do?" Albedo's voice came from the 3rd floor. Luo Tang scratched his head. This time, maybe Albedo really has a lot of uses. After all, if the negotiations are fruitless, 9 out of 10 will need to use fists to solve the problem in the end. And in the face of ordinary people, only Albedo can strike without any psychological barriers. Big in front of a building that looks like a magician in the heart of Fuyuki City's spirit veins. Dozens of magicians completely disregarded the secrecy of magicians and guarded this building day and night. Integrating British style, Gothic style and Rococo style architecture, it looks exquisite and luxurious. There are carved beams and painted buildings on the building, and on the mirror-like windows, the magnificent luster of magic flashes from time to time. The door revealing complicated magic engravings carries an indescribable sense of mystery. Even the steps at the door have a heavy and noble feeling. It's just that the magicians who surrounded this building didn't have the slightest appreciation in their eyes, but instead showed bursts of hatred. Clock Tower, Atlas Court, Wandering Sea. The world's top 3 magician organizations were stolen by one person. This is an unprecedented shame and humiliation for the magic world. What's even more shameful is that they couldn't do anything about the building in front of them. Squeak. The door with complicated magic seals was pushed open. "Everyone, can you give me some face and let this matter go? I will give you some compensation." Luo Tang looked at the crowd in front of him, and raised his hand to say hello with a smile on his face. "The thief is out. Kill him. Don't give him a chance to go back. Attack. Break into this building. Kill him. How dare you insult the clock tower? Unforgivable." Those wandering in the sea, Prepare the combination magic. Let it go. There is no room for explanation and relaxation at all. Luo Teng's words directly attracted everyone's attacks. Looking at all kinds of magic tricks flying all over the sky, Luo Teng sighed slightly. With a palm, he took out Mind Gem from the system warehouse. Compared to the Kamigawa civilization, your firework is too small, gods, just let them calm down. The engine of the heavens starts, automatically redefines the magic energy. The definition is complete. The anti-magic energy wall is set up, redefines the target mind. The definition is complete. The magical attacks all over the sky disappeared without a trace, as if they had never appeared before. An invisible ripple spreading invisible to the naked eye. With the power of Mind Gem, the heavens system instantly controlled the minds of dozens of people. The human heart is always the most complicated thing in the world. If Luo Teng does not rely on the Mind Gem, relying on the heavens system, I am afraid that it will take a long time to complete the control. After all, these people are not ordinary people, but magicians with a firm mind. But once the Mind Gem is used, with the assistance of the heavens system, he can even instantly control an army of magicians. Now you can always speak well. Who of you is the leader? The corner of Luo Teng's mouth curled up, and a smile appeared on his face. I am Clock Stark Christopher Mahal, the person in charge of this Operation Clock Tower. I'm Clay Pendle, from Wandering Sea. Eddie Joey's, from Atlas House. 2 men and 1 woman, the 3 leaders stepped out from the crowd and reported their identities directly. Do you know what to do when you go back? Luo Teng asked. You know, we will do our best to revoke the organization's killing order and erase the impact of this incident. The team leader from the clock tower bowed respectfully, and the other 2 also bowed their heads to express that they would do the same. Tell them for me that if they are not obedient, I don't mind using some tough measures. Luo Teng smiled slightly and waved to them in satisfaction. Dozens of magicians immediately turned around, left the ground station and returned to their respective headquarters. Look, I said, it's not hard to get them. Luo Teng turned around and looked at the 3 people who had just walked out of the gate of the ground reception station. Albedo's face remained unchanged. In her heart, the Supreme Being is the omnipotent Supreme Being. Rin, Tasaka and Artoria have different expressions on their faces. For the 2 of them, this kind of talking and laughing directly manipulates people's hearts. It is even more powerful than the anti-Min noble phantasm that can control beliefs and confuse people's hearts. Will they actually rescind the order? Rin Tasaka took a deep breath, although he had already accepted the preparation to be cast aside by the magic world. But if she could live in the land where she was born and raised, how could she not want to? These people's level is not very high. I'm afraid Albedo will have to take action. Luo Teng shrugged and looked at Albedo to the side. There was a cruel smile on the corner of Albedo's mouth. She nodded slightly, and disappeared in front of several people. Mind Gem control abilities are not permanent. When the controlled person loses consciousness, or Luo Teng returns to the Marvel world, the control effect will disappear. Therefore, it is necessary to properly show strength to the people of the 3 major organizations. Let them be jealous, fearful, and in awe, so that they can't raise the slightest resistance, and they will suppress this matter. Otherwise, with the arrogance of the magicians, this matter will never end. Rin Tasaka and Artoria looked at each other. Although I don't like this method very much, it is undeniable that this is the best way. Let's go. We should go to Matu's house. Luo Teng casually drew a halo of arcane magic. Just as he was about to go to Matu's house, 2 auras belonging to the servants came from several kilometers away. It's Berserker and Archer. Arturia spoke up. Uncle B and Hong A. A strange light flashed in Luo Teng's eyes, closing the originally open mystic aperture. With a wave of hands, 4 light gates appeared in the open space in front of the ground station. Bang! Bang! Shuru Emiya fell directly from the circle of the secret technique, and fell to the ground covered in blood. Uncle B, who was charging, also hit his head on the indestructible ground station. Archer Reda and Ilya lightly rolled over and landed, looking up at the drastically changed environment vigilantly. Luo Teng stroked his chin with one hand and looked at the 4 people in front of him. Because Rin Tosaka summoned Altria away in advance, Emiya Shiro's follower became the Archer Reda. It's like a swap with Tosaka Rin. As for Archer Reda, it is obvious that Shuru Emiya has no good intentions. Classmate Coyote is now covered in injuries. Just like this, if it weren't for the existence of the treasure, Avalon. I'm afraid it would have been cold by now. Who are you? Ilya stood up straight, looking at Luo Teng with big eyes, full of defense. While trying her best to appease the restless berserker Hercules, she retreated a little distance cautiously. Emotions coming back from the berserker told her. The man in front of me is too terrifying to imagine. And Rin Tasaka and Artoria behind him are also extremely threatening. If you introduce yourself, can you wait a moment? I want to chat with this guy first. With the standard smile of a little red girl on Luo Teng's face, he pointed to Emiyashuru with one hand. Noble phantasm Avalon, he has been talking about it for a day or two. Now that this treasure is in front of him, how could he let it slip away? It is good. Ilya took a sip and nodded slightly. The man in front of him obviously wouldn't let her go now. Instead of directly jumping out to be an enemy, it is better to see what the opponent wants to do with Emiyashuru. Luo Teng smiled, got up and walked towards Shuru Emiya. A strange color flashed between Archer Hong's brows, but he didn't stop it in the end. At this point in time, the bow soldiers are probably still thinking about letting Coyote die early, so as to avoid future tragedies and despair. Emiyashuru, how about making a deal? Luo Teng looked at the weak Emiyashuru with a kind smile on his face. Seeing this smile, Tasaka Rin couldn't help giving Emiyashuru a sympathetic look. This guy is about to be cheated. I'm afraid I have nothing to make a deal with you. Emiyashuru, covered in blood, barely sat on the ground dragging his seriously injured body. Looking up at Luo Teng in front of him, he couldn't help but have a bit of bitterness on his face. The treasure Avalon is in your body. I want to get it. As a trade, I can grant you one wish. Luo Teng spoke bluntly, and didn't mind exposing Avalon's existence at all. He didn't pay much attention to coyotes. If it wasn't for Rin Tasaka, Arturia and others being here, he would have snatched the coyotes away in minutes. Du Mao Wang and Lin Zhong are his people. Do you think you are the Holy Grail? Emiyashuru supported the ground weakly, and because of excessive blood loss, his speech became intermittent. When Rin Tasaka and Arturia heard this, they couldn't help but look at Luo Teng. Create things out of thin air, change the rules, and reach all worlds. The almost omnipotent Luo Teng, in their hearts, is much stronger than the Holy Grail, okay? Don't you try. If you drag it on, you'll be cold, and then I'll just help you bury you and take Avalon away. Luo Teng spoke casually. Stop the Holy Grail war. Emiyashuru held the idea that he was dying anyway, so it was better to just say something casually, and expressed his greatest expectation. It's not a big problem, just 2 or 3 days, and you'll probably see the results. Luo Teng raised his eyebrows, and immediately gave orders to the heavens system in his heart. Heaven, strip Avalon. Start to analyze the fit state of Emiyashiro's body and treasure. After the analysis is completed, start to strip. What? A shrill scream came from Emiyashiru's mouth. The pain that seemed to be cut into flesh and blood made him almost faint. The golden scabbard with blue stripes was slowly peeled off Emiyashiru's body. Archer Hong clenched his fists tightly, as if he was suppressing some instinct. In just over 10 seconds, Avalon and Shuru Emiya were completely separated. Under the redefinition of the heavens system, the opponent's body not only fully recovered, but even far exceeded the previous state. I've helped you recover your body, by the way. You're welcome, it's a small gift. Luo Teng flipped Avalon into the system warehouse, and turned to look at Archer Hong A. Can I visit Unlimited Sword System? What do you want to do? Just take a look, I'm pretty good at replicating treasures. Archer Red glanced at Emiyashuru, who was already alive and kicking. Although he is still struggling with whether to kill the other party, the deal between Luo Teng and the other party has initially proved that it is still credible. Unlimited Sword System slowly opened. Under the sky filled with countless gears, on the grass and hills, there are all copied fake treasures. It's interesting, heavens, let's start analyzing. There was a look of excitement in Luo Teng's eyes. There are more than 1,000 weapons copied in Red A's Infinity Sword System. Although the power of most of the weapons has dropped a lot, their principles are exactly the same. These more than 1,000 fakes are enough to complete Zushin's database of treasures, allowing him to thoroughly understand the essence of treasures. Start to analyze the Infinite Sword System and related counterfeit treasures. The analysis progress is 1%, 0.2%. Luo Teng walked in the sand dunes made by Infinite Swords. In just over 2 minutes, he recorded the data completely. Nodding to the Red A, Fang Fang took the initiative to lift the limitless sword restriction. MW. Luo Teng said to Emiyashuru and Hong A, and stopped paying attention to them, but looked at Ilya. Emiyashuru looked hesitant to speak, but Hong A pulled him away. He had a hunch that this Holy Grail war would be completely different. Are you going to make a deal with me too? Ilya weighed her toes, and it was obvious that she relaxed a lot in at the moment. Luo Teng shook his head, and glanced at Arturia, who had complex eyes. I promised to end the Holy Grail war, so you're going to kill Ilya? That's too stupid. Luo Teng smiled and squatted in front of Ilya. Ilyasfil von Einsborn is an artificial life form. During the mother's womb, she underwent a lot of transformation, and she still looks like a 9-year-old girl. And, under normal circumstances, she only has 1 more year to live. Then what are you going to do? Einsborn's mission is to complete the Holy Grail war. Elijah tilted her head. After calming down, she could clearly feel it that the man in front of her was not malicious towards her. This is a unique induction from magic properties. I'm ready to solve the problem at the source. Luo Teng raised his hand and touched Ilya's small head. The purple flat cap was deformed by his inadvertent pressure. Ilya closed her eyes, as if from the palm of her hand, she felt the feeling that made her extremely attached. After a long time, Luo Teng stood up. Glancing at Ilya, who was standing there blankly, she waved at Tasaka Rin and Arturia. Chi. The aperture of the secret magic opened, and the 3 disappeared in front of the gate of the ground station. The door of Jiantong's house was kicked open by Luo Teng. Several servants of the Matu family came over after hearing the sound, and with a disgusting arrogance, they opened their mouths to yell at Luo Teng. Rin, Tasaka and Arturia frowned slightly. The arrogance of magicians is understandable. After all, they have mastered powers that are difficult for ordinary people to master. But even the servants of the magic family feel that they are superior to others? Help the evildoers. There was a white light in Luo Teng's eyes, and the heaven system urged the power obtained from the mind gem, and easily read the hearts of several people. With a wave of his hand, the heads of several servants suddenly turned 180 degrees. Without even saying a word, these people fell to the ground. If you have the guts to break into Matu's house. Matu Shinji came out from the hall when he heard the commotion in front of the gate. In the middle of the conversation, when he saw the corpses lying in a row on the ground, his pupils trembled and his eyes were full of fear. Is Matu Zoken taking a lunch break? Luo Teng muttered, and with a light twist of his fingers, he led Rin and Arturia forward. A chain formed by secret magic, at the moment strangled Matu Shinji's neck, and hung him on the roof. He walked to the room where Matu Zoken was. Luo Teng raised his right hand and clenched it slowly. The room in front of him began to distort extremely quickly, and the torn space turned the entire room, together with Matu Zoken, into powder. Neither Rin nor Arturia felt that there was anything wrong with such a ruthless attack. No one faces what happened to Sakura, and no one can remain indifferent to Zan. Rin. Hearing the movement in the mansion, Matu Sakura ran out of the room with a look of astonishment and disbelief on her face. I'm sorry. I'm late. The moment Tasaka Rin saw Sakura, his tear glands burst. Boom. Before finishing a sentence, Luo Teng tapped on her cerebellum. Sensational what? Did he really think that all his preparations were for nothing? My name is Luo Teng. Now there are 2 ways to change your encounters. First, time converter. Second, time magic backtracking. Luo Teng spoke directly, fascinated by the difference between the 2. Whether it is the time converter or the time magic, alone, it is impossible to complete the 10-year time regression. But with the power of time gem, it can be easily done. To put it bluntly, time gem is equivalent to an infinite time energy source, while time converter and time magic are equivalent to directional effect display devices. From the world of Harry Potter and Madoka, it can be seen that neither of the 2 methods of time regression will create a parallel world. The effect of the time paradox is completely ignored. The difference is that, as a user of the time converter, Sakura can retain the current memory, that is, she will not make mistakes again. And if time magic is used, it must be operated by a Luo Teng instead. Sakura will be just like Madoka, with no memory of the past, and without Luo Teng's help, it is very likely that her fate will still be the same as before. I choose magic. Matu Sakura's tears flowed like a bank burst, but there was a relieved smile on her face. It is good. Luo Teng took a deep breath. Opening a secret magic aperture, let Tasaka Rin and Arturia return to the ground first. With the rule protection of the ground station, the influence on them can be reduced to the minimum. The emerald green time gem, in the hands of Luo Teng, blooms with dazzling luster. The surrounding world began to distort rapidly. The time of the whole world began to go backwards crazily, and a huge pressure was imposed on Luo Tang. Cause and effect. Luo Tang muttered, and when he came back to his senses, he had already appeared thousands of years ago. Sakura will leave it to you from now on. Definitely, we will cherish her ability. Thank you again, Patriarch Tasaka. Then I will take my leave. A conversation came clearly from the front yard. A sneer curled up on the corner of Luo Tang's mouth, and he quickly started to act. 66666 at the ground pickup station, Tasaka Rin paced back and forth in the hall uneasily. Not being able to personally participate in the action of saving Sakura made her very anxious and bored. Trust the president. Artoria stood in a corner of the hall, stroking the leather tail of the Lion King. The lioness looked up and glanced at Rin Tasaka, who was at a loss, and lay down again, enjoying the touch from Artoria. Sakura is my sister. Rin Tasaka clenched his fist several times, and then loosened it several times. The expression on his face was extremely complicated. Boom boom boom, there was a knock on the door of the ground station. Travel agencies don't treat customers now, Tasaka Rin said impatiently to the door. I'm here to find someone. A series of weak and familiar tones came from the door. Rin Tasaka froze, ran over quickly, and opened the closed door of the ground reception station. Looking at the gentle and pleasant figure standing under the noon sun, with a bit of timidity on his pretty face. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she hugged the figure in front of her. Sakura. Welcome home. Rin Tasaka burst into tears, and many complicated emotions came to her heart, making her speechless for a while. Sakura flustered and wiped away her tears. I don't know how to speak, let alone how to comfort. Where's the president? Arturia's eyes were full of doubts. Matu Sakura, no, Tasaka Sakura is back, where did she go? According to normal logic, shouldn't the president come back with Sakura? What happened? Chi, while Artoria was wondering, a golden light of secret magic appeared in front of the gate of the ground station. Goodbye Odo-san. Come back to see Ilya sometime. Mr. Luo, thank you. You're welcome, goodbye little Ilya. Luo Tang's voice fell, and people walked out of the arcane magic circle. Irisville. Arturia's pupils shrank slightly. The first child's voice was obviously Ilya, who had met once before. And the second female voice is Irisville, who she has been trying to protect in the last Holy Grail War. What the hell happened in this world? President. When Tasaka Rin saw Luo Tang, he swooped and hooked his neck, murmuring words of thanks in his mouth. The flustered Sakura's mouth gradually changed into an O shape. The eyes kept turning back and forth between Tasaka Rin and Luo Tang, and there was a smile on his face. Luo Tang patted Tasaka Rin's back, and it took him a while to calm him down. President, what happened? Ilya called your father. Arturia couldn't hold back her curiosity, so she asked a little. She couldn't imagine it. When we first met, the little girl with an indifferent face, controlling Berserker Hercules, unexpectedly had such a soft and cute side. The sense of attachment and the sense of innocence in the words are completely different from what I have seen before. Also, what happened to Sakura? Why did it feel like meeting Rin for the first time when I saw Tasaka Rin again? I went back to 10 years ago, adopted Sakura, and solved some bad things by the way. As for Ilya, the little girl likes me better, so I just let her call her. Luo Tang shrugged and said briefly, he returned to the Fourth Holy Grail War, but did a lot of things. Although he was worried about causing Gaia's consciousness and Elia's sniping, there would be changes beyond his control, so he kept hiding in the dark. But all the things he wanted to change had already changed. So, the president is Sakura's adoptive father? Tasaka Rin looked like he had seen a ghost. Her younger sister has become the adopted daughter of the president she admires. This seniority is simply hopeless. Is there anything more unacceptable than this? No, although Mr. Luo adopted me, but in name, we are brother and sister. Sakura shyly opened her mouth to explain. Mr. Luo? Rin Tasaka rested his chin in one hand, with a thoughtful expression. I can't be with Sakura for 10 years, so I have been using Time Gem and Time Converter to jump. For me, it is probably less than a month. Luo Tang spoke again, with a somewhat helpless expression on his face. When he was in the time jump, he wanted to try if he could scan the tourist list and so on. But the system didn't give him a chance at all. President, thank you. Tasaka Rin hugged Luo Tang and refused to let go, as if this was the only way to express her gratitude. You've said it many times. Come on, let me go back and rest for a while. Luo Tang shook his head and patted Tasaka Rin on the back again. For Tasaka Rin and others, in just over 10 minutes, he has experienced a full month. Fortunately, the time switch is convenient enough, otherwise who knows if he really will stay for 10 years. Rin Tasaka let go of Luo Tang, and took the initiative to hold Sakura's hand. A smile appeared on Artoria's face. Regardless of the process, it feels really good now that everything is sorted out. By the way, Artoria, this is for you. Luo Tang took out a long sword from the system warehouse and threw it to Artoria. The long sword intertwined with gold and silver, with a deep light like a star. Artoria's pupils suddenly narrowed, and she held the long sword in her hand and looked at it in a daze. X-level treasure, the Sword of the Vowed Victory, has 13 restraints, the legendary shining holy sword that saves the planet. When I see Albedo, tell her to come back directly, and I will go back first. Luo Tang's voice came, and the person had disappeared in the world of Tianmen behind the station. Tasaka Rin, Sakura, and Artoria looked at each other and walked into the ground pickup station together. There are still many things between them to ask Chi. Rin Tasaka wanted to know what happened in the past 10 years. And Artoria wants to know if her past can be changed like Sakura. Although she has almost let go of the obsession in her heart. But if possible, she hopes, she in another timeline cannot be King Arthur. Luo Tang took a rare few days of rest at the travel agency. Albedo just returned to the travel agency on the 3rd day after his return. The strong bloody smell can be clearly smelled a few meters away. With the arrogance of the magicians and the cruelty of Albedo, one can imagine what kind of experience the 3 major organizations will have. But Rin Tasaka's troubles were finally resolved. The vicinity of Fuyuki City has almost become a taboo place that magicians talk about. Ding, young master tourist, you can return to the original world at any time if you have achieved your travel goals, or you can return to the original world after 1 month expires. Ding. Complete the tourist reception. The host can choose any ability, bloodline, and item from Master Kong. The system prompt sounds. Luo Tang lay lazily on the sofa unwilling to move. Mr. Kong, this guy, changed into an incorruptible kidney in Wakanda. With Wakanda's medical technology, even if this guy dies, he won't suffer from kidney deficiency again. Ding, tourist Mr. Kong has returned to the original world. Not long after, the system notification sounded again, followed by an inquiry from the Heavens system. Princess Suri of Wakanda requested a video call, is it connected? Connect. Luo Tang raised his eyebrows, waved his hand, and the virtual electronic projection appeared in the living room. The little black girl Su Li greeted him in the video with a smile. Mr. Luo, Mr. Kong left some gifts for you. Emptiness is his name, not name. Forget it. What gift did he leave behind? A book of void swordsmanship. Shall I pass the data on to you, or should someone send it over? The little black girl took out a booklet and shook it in her hand. The brochure with an old and simple atmosphere, it can be seen that there is not a short period of time at a glance. Luo Tang raised his eyebrows slightly, and asked Su Li to pass the information on. The Zushin system received the document scanned by the other party, and began to analyze it quickly. Master Kong's swordsmanship of Kong is not bad. Although facing Sun Wukong who broke through the trap, he didn't cause too much damage to the opponent. But that's just because he can't practice at home. Compared to other exorcists' methods, the Void Sword technique is already the legendary Sword Immortal's method. The analysis of the Void Sword technique is complete. This sword technique is a special dark energy cultivation method. The biological energy produced by the 5 viscera and lungs is used to draw special dark energy and arrange it in a sword shape. From a scientific point of view, the Heavens system carefully analyzed the content of the Kong swordsmanship. According to Shenxia World, the Void Swordsmanship is actually a metallic swordsmanship secret book. Since ancient times, there has been a saying that the 5 elements of liverwood, heartfire, spleen earth, lung metal, and kidney water are mutually generated and restrained. The emptiness swordsmanship mainly moves through the large meridians of the lungs, and gathers a large amount of metallic aura. The 5 elements grow together, under the gold and water. The yin qi in the kidneys of the empty sun gathers, and when he is overwhelmed, he will naturally appear in a state similar to kidney yin deficiency. Heaven, can you deduce other 5 element energies that correspond to the metallic aura? Luo Tang stroked his chin. A seemingly inconspicuous cheat book directly increased the dark energy control ratio in his database by a lot. If you can deduce the 4 elements of wood, water, fire, and earth among the 5 elements. The dark energy he controls will definitely skyrocket. The deduction has been started, simulating the cosmic energy in the world of Shenxia, and simulating the laws of the 5 internal organs of the human body. The heaven system began to deduce. After Luo Teng withdrew his mind, he spoke to Wanji Travel Agency. Copy the empty sword box of young Master Kong. Ding. The empty sword case has been stored in the system warehouse. The Kong Kong sword box is used by Mr. Kong Kong, and it is a sword technique that matches the Kong Kong sword technique. According to the description of the Kong Kong sword art, the empty sword case has been refined to the extreme, and it can store tens of thousands of flying swords. These flying swords can be separated or combined. When separated, they will turn into sword shadows all over the sky. When combined, they can slay the peerless monster, changing the world. Although there are some suspicions of bragging, it is undeniable that this thing is powerful. Huh? It's a bit like unlimited swordsmanship. Luo Teng opened the void sword box of young Master Void. 36 flying swords with colorful colors and different shapes slowly rotated around him. After the heavens analyzed the void sword box and all kinds of flying swords, Luo Teng had to admit that although the technology in the world of Shenxia is underdeveloped, but for cold weapon casting and modern technology, it really can't be compared with it. The weapon information in the void sword box appears in the database king. The heavens system also began to try to further research, and also try to integrate with the previous weapon casting method. Ding. Tourist Albus Dumbledore. The purpose of the trip has been achieved. You can return to the original world at any time, or wait for the expiration of 1 month to return to the original world. Ding. Complete the tourist reception. The host can choose any ability, bloodline, and item from Dumbledore. What day is today? Luo Teng muttered, and after thinking about it, copied Dumbledore's knowledge. In the end, it is the world of Harry Potter, who has been rated as the strongest magician in the contemporary era. Although its knowledge of magic is not as good as that of Ancient One, it is already at the top of the Harry Potter world. The magic knowledge in the database covers almost any magic subject in the world of Harry Potter.